the same. But if you sort of are going to reproduce one of the visual poems here, it's possible that it will be completely something different. Even if you minute type of millimeters difference where things are, that's possible. And an oral performance will never be a true representation of the work. If you read, and if you let 200 people read a sonnet of Shakespeare's, in principle, the meaning or most of the poem as such, let's say like 80% of the poem will be transmitted through that, and it will be the same. If you reproduce, if you try to orally reproduce, and then we're back to this uniqueness, if you try to orally reproduce one of the visual poems here, it's always different, if anybody will do that. There is one in the book, there is a small catalogue of an exhibition where at the end it said like, we invite all participants to this exhibition, and I used that also in Tilburg, a desert exhibition, because I liked it very much. We invite all participants to the exhibition of visual poetry to read all the visual poems out loud. So, I mean, I would have liked to be at the opening and seeing all the people trying to perform that. And then, finally, the materials, techniques, and methods used, and that's sort of definitely from the art sciences. And so the materials, techniques, and methods used provide the possibility to date the work post-quant. That's also something that Helen already touched upon in her paper at a certain moment. So you know that if somebody has made a typewriter poem, that the typewriter poem cannot be made before the typewriter existed. And even, yeah, it sounds logical, but I mean, and within art science, you have sometimes people dating a painting, and then it's not possible because they didn't have this technique in that age. Right? So something like that, and even different typewriters give different type of letters, so you can even identify the. I mean, here you come into sort of like the sciences that are used. How do you say that again? For criminal purposes, not for criminal purposes.
Forensic.
Yeah, forensic. Yeah, so you come with so which means that you're not only you're not only using literature sciences, you're not only using art sciences, you're already using forensic sciences to sort of identify and to be able to describe the poem, because otherwise you don't have the. We talk all about tools to describe the sorry, there's a mosquito somewhere. There's a mosquito, and I'm very. They are very fond of my. I don't know what. Okay. So also certain glues, certain paints. For instance, if you have, I'm just thinking out loud. If Kissinger's from Paul de Vree, you have 3 different versions of Kissinger's. You have even a 3-dimensional version of Kissinger. But I mean, if you don't know who Kissinger is, then the meaning of this Singer's sewing machine with the kiss in the same way that the group Kiss has written, you just lose all the meaning. If you don't know who Kissinger is, yeah, you're just looking at the sewing machine with the kiss on top of it. So, I mean, it's very important to sort of also have this historiographic approach to it, because you need to know, and there we come onto your social, what Luc at a certain moment also said, like with the social, and Xavier also, and that within certain times you have other type of ways, and it's always socially connected, or politically connected, or social-politically connected. And to recognize, and in that sense, it's completely different from poetry. Recognize or even identify its maker. I think in that, there it's also very interesting, because that makes it not just a poem but an art piece. And we're back to, I mean, I'm excluding a little bit this collaborative part, because yeah, you also have that. I didn't think about that. But it's quite important to sort of put that there, as if you print a poem, and you can, I mean, we are still reprinting Shakespeare's sonnets and whatsoever, but you need to analyze in principle. I mean, we don't even know if Shakespeare was one person or a group of people. Right? There are different theories about that also. So, but in principle, you need to analyze completely the poem to sort of suggest that it's Shakespeare. While, yeah, we think it's Shakespeare because somebody in a previous anthology said it was Shakespeare in a previous. So you never go back, or people are almost never going back to the original, really original, whilst with visual poetry, it's always an original. It's almost always a unique piece. Exceptions are, of course, like you have then with conceptual arts, that you can reprint things and whatsoever. So I'm going very sort of cutting corners here for not wanting to do 70 pages in this warm environment as such. And I would like to sort of take the opportunity to show you what I mean sometimes with what I'm doing. This is a page from Tango with Cows, sort of an early 20th century Russian concreto futurist poem. And this is what's called Shushkin Palace. And okay, I mean, we don't know Cyrillic, but for instance, if you just look at it and you want to sort of, I especially take this example because most of us can't read Cyrillic. Yeah, okay, yeah, that's an exception. Shushkin Palace is a palace, they used to be carpenters exporting and importing goods from Paris to Moscow. Shushkin Palace is still in almost its original state. It exists in Moscow, and you can go and visit it because it's a public museum. After the revolution it was made, blah 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 and stuff like that. Okay. The poet wanted to make a poem, and all tango with almost, no, let's say more than 50% of tango with cows are maps. Are sort of like, it's mapping. There is Constantinople. If you want, we can have a look at that also. But this is sort of like the interior of Shushkin Palace, because, for instance, you see in the, not the left corner, but just next to it, you see M-A-T. That's Matisse. So that says like this is Matisse. You have somewhere even Picasso. So they even bought. They went to Paris and they bought with Picasso and Matisse, they bought the paintings, still wet on the easel and whatsoever, and they imported a lot. So if you can put this, the different colors are used. Some of the colors are, Picasso has a room by himself, I always forget where it's. You have Cézanne, for instance. On the left hand side, you have the C, Cézanne. For instance, you have there. So you have all these paintings, all these colors. To understand this, you should in principle go to Sushkin Palace and sort of to understand this poem. So let's go to Sushkin Palace. They have a website, luckily, because in the middle of the poem, in the middle of the poem here, so this is a staircase. This is the entrance hall and a staircase. And on the staircase, there are these dancing girls, I think by Matisse. I'm learning at this moment Bulgarian, so my Cyrillic alphabet is not so good at this moment. But Picasso is somewhere even cubistically split up into different, here, P-I-K-A-C, Picasso. So I mean, you already see here that Picasso is working on his, that he has cubist type of paintings. And it goes on with colors, Cheren, which is then red, black or red. Yeah, I don't know.